break. Come on, girl.
Nova 937 celebrating International Women's Day.
Yeah.
With Nat Locke and Susannah Carr.
Watch me work. That's my job.
It's 7:04. Nathan, Nat and Shaun, except the boys are gone, and the co-host with the most. We're just adjusting her throne as we speak. Queen Susannah Carr in the building. Susannah, welcome.
Nat, thank you.
This is a bit exciting for me, co-hosting with you.
Well, Nat and I just met in the corridor, and we decided that seeing as last time I came in with
Yes.
Rick, Nat wasn't here either.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry, Nathan wasn't
yes.
here either.
Yes.
We're the same person because we can't be in the same room at the same time.
That's true. No one has ever spotted you and Nathan Morris in the same
No,
room
it's
at the
true.
same time. And so do you, peel the face off to reveal you? Or does he peel his face off to reveal you? How does it work?
It's a very weird combination, I have to tell you.
That's vaguely horrifying, to be honest. Now, you started in radio, right?
I did.
So
My
this is
first
very
job.
familiar to
yeah,
you.
there was me sailing through life thinking I was going to be an architect, and for some God only knows what reason.
Something went horribly wrong.
Yeah, I answered an advertisement in the paper for a radio announcer at the ABC, and I ended up becoming a radio
It was that
announcer.
easy to become a radio announcer.
No, it wasn't. There were
You were just that good.
there were 120 people,
Is that
and I didn't
right?
even get the job until a year later.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was
so they're when
huge.
they were one of those job interviews where they go, we can't give it to you, but we've put you're on file, and we'll call you if there's any openings. And they
It was
actually
sort
did.
of like that. Yes, in fact, I was showing. I've got this bit of a scrapbook at work,
Yes.
and I was showing some of the
God,
younger
how
ones.
big is that? Must be massive.
I think I tailed off after a while. And,
Yeah, okay.
and there's just bits stuffed
Yes.
in there, but all the original letters are there where it said, "While your work holds promise, we won't be offering you a job
Yes.
yet." And could you've got good microphone quality and stuff like that, and then, of course, there were the wages, which were pretty horrendous.
Yeah, I can imagine.
In fact, Jordan Cutt said to me, "Is that what you got per week?" And I went, "No, that was for the year."
Stop it.
It was so bad. It was like $4,000 or something.
for the year.
Yeah. It was just terrible.
That is terrible.
But it was a long time ago.
Obviously. But $4,000 a year bought you 2 houses back then, right? No.
Well, it certainly bought you a car.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
amazing, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
well, you've
probably
come a long way.
Well, it has been a long journey.
Yeah. So radio, and then you jumped into television on the ABC too, didn't you?
I did, yes. It was interesting because, again, we were talking with the young girls yesterday, and I said I was reading radio news there.
Yes.
And then the ABC said, well, we don't know whether to put you on television news because we've never had a television newsreader, a woman before.
What?
And we're not sure that the audience would take it seriously.
Isn't that
They
extraordinary?
actually said that
This
to
is
me.
in your lifetime. And now you're,
Oh.
we're not talking about the 1800s, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking...
We're talking the television era.
We're talking, yeah, exactly. We're talking recent memory. And they said, we don't know if anybody would want to watch a woman read the news.
Yes, yeah, they did.
Extraordinary.
And the crazy thing was, when I read, I think I was about 25, we got such a good reaction.
Yes, that's
it was
right.
a really good reaction.
It turns out. So you were a trailblazer, really, in that sense.
I suppose, yes, because now it's mostly women who are in broadcasting. The men are the smaller number now.
Yeah, extraordinary.
Yeah.
So you've turned it right around. You single-handedly.
I don't know about that, but time has changed.
And now, of
yeah.
course, you and Rick are the Guinness Book of World Record holders for the longest on-air team reading the
Yes.
news in the world.
We're in the world, and we set a new record every day.
Of
because
course you do.
We do. And next January, it's, dare I say it, 40 years.
It's extraordinary.
Isn't that a crime?
I mean, there's going to be
can't quite
street
get my head
parades
around
and
it
stuff
myself.
around this, obviously. That's amazing. What an incredible career.
I've been very lucky.
Yeah.
It's been a great time. It's also been a great time to actually get into television in those days and then ride it up through all the changes and the things that have happened and the technology changes and
Yes.
the way we do things. I mean, auto cue machines didn't exist when I first started.
So when you started, you were reading off a piece of paper, and you would
like a
have to
book.
try and remember it.
You
or-
would.
Yes.
You'd remember as much as you possibly could, because obviously you didn't want to read like
No,
the Russian.
yes.
The Russian readers used to read just looking at the paper and
Yes.
they wouldn't look up. But we had to make as much eye contact as possible.
Yeah, and so now it's all auto cue, so that makes life a lot easier.
A lot easier.
praise.
Got a great memory.
Yeah. That's amazing. Do you reckon you could still do it like a paragraph of news?
Yes, but I'd probably panic.
So So you're delivering it, but there's vague panic in your eyes the whole
There
time.
is.
The whole time. Well, the good news is Susannah is sticking around for the rest of the show. She is my
Yeah.
official co-host today for International Women's Day, and we have a bunch of other amazing guests.
This is the Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
Time to talk to another a piece of royalty. The one and only Ricki-Lee joins us. A brand new album dropped overnight. Ricki, hello. Ricki-Lee. She was there a minute ago. What happened? Harry, what have you done? Is this a man sabotaging the International Women's Day show? What have you done?
Oh, we were speaking to her 30
Literally
seconds ago.
talking to her. What have you done to her?
I didn't do it.
That's why we need a woman in here doing Harry's
smell
job.
sabotage. Are you there, Ricky?
Look, that sounds to me like they're trying to reconnect it. This could be
Wow,
like-
this is
Can
awkward.
we pretend to be her?
Yeah, do you want to? Okay, tell us
Sing,
about your
okay.
new album, Ricki-Lee.
Well, that track you just heard,
Yes.
I've used the Kiss chorus
Yes.
and actually worked it into my own song, and
Yes.
I have to say it's gone very, very well.
Yeah, well, you're pretty, big on yourself there, Ricki-Lee. But, but if you can't be self-congratulatory on International Women's Day, then when
Absolutely.
can you?
But if you notice, when you listen to the Kiss chorus,
Yes.
it's got a slightly different note change in the second line.
Okay, so what you're
So
saying?
I've adapted it
You
to
did this
change it a little
so
bit.
you don't have to pay them royalties.
Actually, the interesting thing is they get all the royalties.
Yeah, right.
That's the crazy thing. Just by taking their chorus, they take
Yes.
the credit for the whole song, and you can't have the royalties.
Is that
at all.
true?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Wow. So what's the point then? What do you think about that, Em?
That's crazy. What's the point of having Ricki-Lee on? I've already learned enough.
And now, fingers crossed, toes crossed, we have the Queen herself, Ricki-Lee.
Hello.
There she is. Brand new album, Ricki-Lee. Well done.
Thank you so much. And I did love the explanation there about the Kiss, about Kiss and the publishing, and
Yeah.
and I was made for loving you. I was like, oh my gosh, I could have just not rocked up.
Susannah Carr knows her stuff, I tell you what. She's a Ricki-Lee fangirl
I'm
from
sorry
way
it
back.
was such a bad impersonation, Ricky.
Oh, brilliant.
I'm just
loved
filling
it.
time.
So talk to us about that. So I Was Made for Loving You, obviously a classic song, and you just loved it that much, or what's the story behind it?
Well, we actually went into the studio that day and we started with writing a brand new, fresh song. I was actually having a really bad day and I just wanted to write a song that was the complete opposite of how I was feeling. I needed a song to like lift me up, and I thought, well, because I had an hour drive from home to the studio, and I was putting on hype music that was going to lift me up and make me happy, and I was like, this is the kind of song I want to write today. I want to write the song that you go to when you need a pick me up, when you need, an anthem, a euphoric, feel-good anthem that's going to just lift me up for the day. So we went in and that was the vibe, and we started writing the verse, and then we wrote the pre-chorus, and then once we got to the chorus, over the chords, someone, and I wish I remembered who it was, but someone sang, I was made for loving you, baby, you were made for loving me, over the chords.
Yeah.
And we all kind of had that weird moment where you gasp because you're like, oh my God, you can't do that. You just can't do that because they're going to take all of the publishing
Yes.
and or we're going to get sued, or like it's a whole thing. And generally, if that ever happens in a session, you just go in the complete opposite direction and run for the hills and go just as far away from that melody as possible. But it just worked so well, and there was something that just said to me, this is what the chorus is supposed to be. It just so happens to be one of the most iconic classic songs of all time, and we had to go and get clearance for it.
Yes.
That was always it was always the thing. If we're going to do this, we have to go and get clearance, and if
Yes.
we don't, unfortunately, this song's going to have to go in the bin because nothing's going to beat that chorus in this song.
Yeah, right.
So we did. We got clearance. Kiss themselves gave us the clearance and gave us the green light to use it. But as you mentioned before, it was they are taking 100% of the songwriting publishing, which is absolutely fine
Yeah.
by me because
Even though
it
you
is-
wrote all the other bits of it.
I know it is, even though it is only 2 lines
Yeah.
of their song, it is one of the most iconic,
Yes.
memorable songs in the history of the world. So I totally get it, and I just think it made the song. And even just judging by the reaction from people and what I've been hearing over the last week from people reacting
Yeah.
to that song is just, it's so special, and it really was worth it.
And now maybe Gene Simmons won't have to do betting ads because you've
Yeah.
got some retirement funds for him. You know what I mean?
Or like, isn't that song on like all of the Maccas or Hungry Jacks? It's on like every second ad. Those guys are cashing in. I respect the hustle.
Big time. So that's just one song on the album, obviously.
Yes.
Pretty exciting. This is your 5th album, but it's been a while between drinks, hasn't it?
It has. It's funny because it's been 10 years since I've released my last album. The last one came out in 2014, but I have not stopped working on music since then. And there's just been hurdles along the way and roadblocks and just things that have been in the way of me actually releasing an album, whether it's me disagreeing with a record label or just not being able to decide on a path or a vibe. And that kind of in 2019, that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, whatever that bloody saying is.
Yeah, no, that's
for
it.
me. Is it? Oh, that's it. I got it right. Okay, good. It felt like I'd been fighting with my record label for so long about who I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be saying as an artist and what songs I'm supposed to be releasing, that it was just like, we're not on the same page here. Let's just not do this anymore. And that was a terrifying but also a wonderful thing to happen, because then it meant that I was now the captain and I got to be in charge and I got to drive the car rather than be a passenger in somebody else's vision of who I'm supposed to be. And that's led me to today, where I've woken up and my album that I've spent the last 2 years working my ass off on is number 1 on the iTunes chart. And reading and seeing the feedback is just from fans and people that are listening to that album is so validating and so rewarding because of how hard I've had to work over the last 10 years to make this happen and get this album out.
Yeah, no, brilliant work. And of course,
insane.
You're so busy because, I mean, you're doing radio every day, Ricki-Lee, Tim and Jill, of course, and then Australian Idol as well.
Yes.
Are you ever home, I guess is the obvious question. Are you ever home?
I have to say, like, it's I doing radio and TV was just something that I feel like just fell into my lap, and I'm so lucky that I get to do those things because I love doing it so much. But it certainly does make making music really hard because there are only a certain amount of hours in a day, and I'm not going to lie and say that it's been peachy and rosy and fun. I'm extremely overwhelmed a lot of the time and I have far too much on my plate. But I tell you one thing, there is nothing more powerful than a woman with ambition. Yeah. Because a woman with too much on her plate will always get every single thing done.
Yeah, that's what they say. If you want something done, give it to a busy woman.
100%.
Prioritise.
100%. Yeah. 100%. And it's just, I've got amazing people that I work with, but it really has been hard to fit it all in. But I feel like it reminds me of when I was in high school and I wanted to start doing gigs. I was 15 and I was in like grade 10 and I was a really good student. I was getting like straight A's and in school, and my parents said to me, if you want to go and do gigs, your grades can't suffer. So from a really young age, I had this it was like a reward that I got to do. I got to go and perform on stage, but I had to do the work on the other side. I had to do my homework. I had to do my assignments. So I'm sitting in nightclubs at 3 a.m. what people think I'm doing like a uni assignment because I looked like I was 42 when I was 15.
You were doing your maths homework.
I was doing my grade 10 maths homework and assignments in nightclubs when people are having brawls and like vomiting and like, you know, having a little cuddle in the corner and a little pash.
Yeah.
And while I'm sitting there doing the most basic of high school.
Yeah.
But that's the way that I learned.
And that's the grind that you have to do to get to where you are.
100%.
To be overnight success, Ricki-Lee.
Yeah, it's like, I don't even know how old I am now. It feels like I'm 142. But since I was 15, this has been the hustle. This has been the dream. All I've wanted was my songs to be played on the radio and for people to hear what I'm saying and to listen to my music and to come buy tickets to see my shows and watch me perform. And it's such an honour that I get to do it. I feel grateful and lucky every single day of my life.
It's so interesting, isn't it? Because a lot of people, myself included, would have thought that you started with Australian Idol, but clearly the grind and the grunt work was done well before that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I was working 7 nights a week. Like in my senior years of high school, I was working 7 nights a week and doing 2 gigs a day sometimes, all while doing my, senior years. Yeah. I was playing sport, I was in school musicals or whatever the hell it was. My plate has just always been really full, and I think that's where I operate the best.
Did
I
you
also
always
do
have
love
such
just-
a powerful voice? Because your voice is so strong. And is that something you've built up to, or has it always been like that?
Oh no, I've always been a loudmouth. Always.
Nothing wrong with that.
Always. I used to think that my parents couldn't hear me singing in my bedroom upstairs, but
Yeah, right.
obviously they could.
The whole neighbourhood could.
Oh, the whole neighbourhood. But I have a very large family of, my background is Maori, so everyone, it seems, in my family is a singer, and we
Yes.
grew up sitting around at parties and everyone's singing in harmony, and someone always had a guitar. But surprisingly, I was always the shy one that never wanted to sing in front of anyone.
Well, you've got that out of your system. Well done.
She certainly has. You can't bloody get away from me now.
Well, you know that we love you. You're an absolute dynamo, and it's just, extraordinary. Your album's already #1, which is no surprise. It's called On My Own. It is out now. Check it out. Ricki-Lee, we'll hear you this afternoon as well.
Yeah, I'll see you this summer, guys. Thank you so much, and thank you for buying the album and supporting me. It means the absolute world. Thank you so much.
And
guys.
happy
Thanks for having
International
me.
Women's Day to you.
Yes, ladies.
The Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
We have one more guest to squeeze in. How about international cricketing superstar, if you don't mind, spin bowler Alana King. Good morning, Alana.
Good morning, ladies. How are we?
Happy
morning,
International
Alana.
Women's Day, Alana.
Happy International Women's Day to you too.
Now, cricket's kind of leading the way, isn't it? Because,
so
we
well.
saw some of the,
You haven't smashed any car windows lately, have you, Alana?
No, I have not. Unfortunately, I'll leave that to Pez to do that in India.
Yeah, I mean, that was just so good. But speaking of India, the women's IPL is sort of leading the way as far as female cricketers actually earning some decent coin from their sport.
Yeah, absolutely. I think cricket's been the leading sport for a while now, and it's been the most lucrative, I guess, contract for and leading the way in the female space, which is awesome to see. But yeah, I think girls can earn some significant amount of money in India playing some cricket as well. So it's awesome to see.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago that most female athletes, even if they were representing the country, had to have a job as well. Was that the situation for you early on?
Yeah, I think when I first started, we were very much part-time in the state association, so trying to juggle study and work and trying to become the best cricketer you can, it was a bit of a struggle, but it's great to see that times are changing and the girls are getting a bit more exposure, which means there's, contracts are a bit more full-time. I know in the national team it's a full-time contract, or very close to a full-time contract, and domestic players are seeing that as well.
Alana, was it something you always wanted to do as a kid? Did you see yourself as doing this professionally as a kid?
Oh, I just never thought I could do it professionally. I just wanted to play this cricket because I loved it. I was a big sports kid when I was growing up and tried to do every sport under the sun. So
we had Em O'Driscoll on earlier, and Em's got sporting brothers, and you're in the same position, aren't you? You've got brothers who are really into sport as well.
Yeah,
and obviously a really sporty family.
Yeah, that's the reason why I got into sport, because I got an older brother, and I pretty much was just bowling to him in the front yard because he wanted a bat. So that's pretty much how it all started, and I pretty much just wanted to follow my brother everywhere he went, especially it was either soccer or tennis and then cricket. So I just wanted to be like my brother and play as much sport as I can, and I'm pretty happy that I've stuck with it and representing my country, which I'm pretty lucky to do.
I've got older brothers too, Alana, so I hear where you're coming from. But the problem I ran into is that, we had my dad, this is a bit sad, but my dad made us a table tennis table. And the age difference is 5 years and 3 years. The brother that was 5 years older than me, when I finally beat him, he never let me play again. He never played against me again.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Was your brother upset when you started to get so good?
Yeah, started getting him out a lot.
No, I kind of spat the dummy anytime he got me out, but he is older than me, so sometimes if he got me out, I'd take the bat and walk back inside. But I just let him know that it's not fair sometimes. But then when I got him out, I won't let him hear the end of it.
And you're a spin bowler. So how did that evolve? Did you try fast bowling, or how did it go?
Yeah, I think every kid that starts cricket, I think the easiest thing to learn is just, fast bowling, I guess, or medium-paced bowling. It's the easiest action to kind of teach kids, and that's how every kid learns. But then, again, my brother kind of introduced me to spin bowling, and growing up in Victoria, I watched Shane Warne every summer, so he was a big inspiration to me in picking up leg spin as well. So, I think every kid pretty much starts the same in the backyard, trying to bowl as quick as they can. But, it's pretty niche to learn some spin bowling as well, and I was trying to have as much fun as Warnie did as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're nailing it. And the beauty of the Australian women's cricket team is that you're enormously successful, and success breeds success, of course. The park that I walk my dog at is a junior cricket club as well. And the number of girls that are now, practicing in the nets, they're coming down and having a hit just with their dad, out of hours when it's not training. It seems to be that the grassroots level, girls are seeing it as a viable option now.
It is, and I think it's great because when I was growing up, I didn't see many girls' teams around the country, and to see that there's girls' competitions all around the country where only girls are playing, I think it's incredible, and it's great to see that more girls and boys are looking up to some female cricketers and wanting to aspire to be like them. I think that's amazing to see how the world's changing these days, and people wanting to be female athletes, or their heroes are female athletes, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And are the crowds getting bigger and bigger as each game you play?
Yeah, I think so. I think that comes down to Cricket Australia trying to keep boosting some media attention around us, and as you said, being successful obviously helps. And you can see what the Matildas did in the World Cup as well. I think that was an incredible.
Hasn't that taken us a huge leap high? We've leapt so much higher because of them, haven't we?
Yeah, it's good for all sport.
Huge too, obviously. So
and I think all women's sports all women's sports have learnt from each other, and we're just trying to grow each other as well as keep growing our own sport. So we learn off each other, we push each other, but I'm sure every sport wants to be the number one female sport. So there's lots of learnings that we are, and we're all quite united, I guess, on that front. We want more sports on TV of women playing, and just hopefully more access to female athletes.
Yep. Well, you're nailing it, Kingy. Thanks so much for talking to us this morning.
Thank you, ladies. Have a great day.
You too.
Nathan, Nat and Shaun is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au. Nova.